and welcome to Mrs Patnell's Phonics lesson 3 of this week. We have been looking at positional language on the first lesson and then moved into 3D shape yesterday. So we're going to carry on with 3D shapes today. We're going to have a go at making our own. So in order to make our own, we've got to really think about the shape of the faces. How many have that shape? We're going to talk about it while we're making it as well. So we're using that language of our 3D shapes. We're going to start with our number of the day. Now we did do this last week, but I want to pop back and revisit that. I want to do number 10 again today, and that's for everybody, number 10. So we can really practice our bonds of 10 on our number of the day sheet. So 10 again, please. We're going to go at counting today. So we're going to start counting in ones, and we're going to go up to 70 today. So 70 in ones, high on the multiples of 5 and low on the multiples of 10. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, nearly there, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70. Excellent counting in ones there today. Marvellous. Right, I think that probably we can count in twos to 30. So we're going to stop at 30. We're counting in twos, so we're adding 2 on each time. So we don't want every number, we jump over 1 and say the next one. We're going to start at 2. So all the numbers that we are counting will be odd or even numbers. They will be even numbers, numbers that can be halved perfectly. And if you looked at Numicon, they would always have a buddy hole right next to them. So, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. Well, that didn't take long at all, did it? Right, if you've got 100 square in front of you, then you'll be able to do the next bit. If not, then you might want to pause the screen every time I say a number and jab at it on the screen you're watching. So can you point to the number now? Let's go with the number 12. Can you find the number 12? So I know that 12 is along with my numbers that have one lot of 10 and 2 ones. So I'm going to look along with my one lot of 10 in the first column. Aha! Here is 12. Now can you point your finger on 24? 24. Now the 20s have 2 lots of 10 in that first tens column. So look along the ones that have 2 lots of 10 in the first column. You're looking for 24. There it is, 24. One last one. Can you put your finger on number 67? 67. Now 67 I know has 6 lots of 10 in the first tens column. So 67, here are the ones that all begin with 6 lots of 10 in the first column. So 67 is there. Right, we are going to say the bonds of 10 rhyme. Really try and join in. Try and remember, if you can, your fingers are there to help you. So remember, if I say what is a bond of 10 with 5. So I've got 5. What do I add to 5 to make 10? Then I can put my 10 fingers up, take down the 5 that I've already given you, and then what's left will be its bond to make 10. So 5, add 5, make 10. Okay, we're going to do the chart, and then I'm going to do a little bit where I ask you to write the number bond buddy on your boards. So let's start with 0 and 10 are big, strong men. 1 and 9 get along just 5. 2 and 8 are always late. 3 and 7 don't make 11. 4 and 6 are in the mix. 5 and 5 like to jump and jive. Now remember with that rhyme that those numbers could be any way round and they would still make 10. So although we say 4 first, for 4 and 6 are in the mix, 6 and 4 will still work and make 10. So even if you sort of look at 5, I can swap them around any way like this, my hands, and it would still be 5 and 5 makes 10, no matter what way round I do, okay? So it can be any way. So just because it's 4 first does not mean it cannot be 6 and 4. It certainly can. It can be 8 and 2. It can be 9 and 1. So they can swap round the other ways, okay? So on your whiteboards or your pieces of paper, if you have it there, I want you to write, let's grab my pen, I'm going to call out a number. I want you to write the number Bond Buddy number that adds up to 10 with the number I have told you. So, like I gave the example before, if I say 5 on your board, you think, what do I need to add to 5 to make 10? What's its number, Bond Buddy? So then you would write on your board 5, and you'd flash it up to me or to your adult at home to show you know which two numbers add together to make 10, okay? So your first one I'm going to ask you to do is, I'm saying 4. What number do we add to 4 to make 10? 4 and what are in the mix? So you look on your board, you write what number it is. 4 add what makes 10? And the answer is 6. 4 and 6 are in the mix. 4 and 6 make 10. Right, now my next number I'm going to call out is 1. 1 and what get along just fine. You can use your fingers if you want to. You got your 10 fingers, put 1 down. How many are left that would have made the full 10? So 1 and then you can pause it if you're having a little think about it or counting your fingers, but the answer is 9. 1 and 9 get along just fine. They add up to make 10. They are number Bond Buddies of 10. Okay, let's try saying the other way round from what the rhyme says. So let's say 8. I'm telling you 8. What do we have to add to 8 to make 10? Something and 8 are always late. What do we have to add to 8? You can use your fingers, put the 8 down and see what's left if you want to, or you might just know. Pause the video if you're still thinking. But 8's number Bond Buddy to make 10 is 2. Fantastic. Let's try this one. 10. Okay, so I've already given you 10. So if you're trying to make 10 and you've already got 10 and you put those down, what number goes with 10 to be a number Bond Buddy of 10, to make 10? So on your boards you should be writing 0. 0 and 10 are big, strong men. Last one. I'm going to give you 3. What do I add to 3 to make 10? So you can have your 10 fingers and put 3 down and work out how many fingers are left, or you can think 3 and something don't make 11. What number rhymes with 11? Pause it if you're still thinking about it, but the answer is 7. 3 and 7 don't make 11 because they are busy making 10 when you add them together. Excellent work with your number bonds to 10. Remember how important number bonds to 10 are. You will use that throughout the rest of your education. Really important. Now, going back now to our 3D shapes. I have on the table in front of me a lot of the things that we were working on yesterday. I'm just going to tilt my camera a little because you can see a lot of the bush above me, but not so much of the table. So there we are. So I have in front of me lots of the shapes, that my mathematical 3D shapes, but also I have kept lots of the everyday items that are those shapes as well, just to remind us, but also you might feel better having your everyday items with you as well, because we're going to make these shapes in a moment, and I don't suppose you've got mathematical 3D shapes that I have at home, so it will really help to have those everyday shapes in front of you from yesterday, because we're going to make our own 3D shapes now, and I'd like you to have a go. So you might even need to pause the video now and nip off and find some Play-Doh. I did give a recipe to my children in my class to make some this week, but obviously if you're not in my class you wouldn't have got that, but you might have some Play-Doh at home. I intended to use clay, but unfortunately it went rock solid in the sunshine, so my clay idea went a bit out of the window. But you might want to pause it, run and get some Play-Doh. You might want to go and get those everyday items that you had from yesterday to help you look at those 3D shapes, because it's hard to just remember them. It's good to have them in front of you, to pick them up and explore them and look at those face shapes, okay? Otherwise, if you haven't got Play-Doh, there's plenty of recipes online to make Play-Doh, okay? So, I have got a rather sticky pink blob of Play-Doh here, all right? And I am going to have a go at making, which one shall I make first? I'm going to have a go at making a cube, okay? So a cube with my Play-Doh. My everyday item from yesterday was a dice, okay? Now with a cube, all of the faces, every single one, are the same shape. Okay, and what shape would you say that face that's looking at you is? All of the edges are the same length. So what shape must that be if they're all the same length? It is a square-shaped face. And I'm going to put my fingers on here to count all the faces. 1, I'm going to leave my finger there. 2, 3, 4, I've gone all the way around because my finger's there. And then on the sides, 5 and 6 square faces on my cube. So I've got to have a go at making my cube with my Play-Doh. And I'm squeezing it like this because I want to make square-shaped faces. So it looks a bit like a dice, looks like my cube. So I've got to use my fingers to squeeze and mould my Play-Doh to give it nice square-shaped faces. So sometimes they go plump up a bit and they look a bit oval or even a bit circular. So I've got to bring it back down with my fingers. And then I think I'm quite happy with this. I'm going to bring it over. I have made my pink, and it's a bit glittery actually, it's just quite snazzy, my pink cube. So it has square-shaped faces. They're a bit wobbly on the edges, but it is Play-Doh. Let's give it a bit of a pinch. A square-shaped face. Another one. Another one. Another one, so that's the 4 around the outside, and then number 5 and number 6 on the sides, all square-shaped faces. So that is my cube. So I'm going to pop that with my cube there. Okay, next up, I think I'm going to have a go at making, a cylinder. So this was my cylinder here from yesterday. Now remember, it has one curved face going down the outside, but then circular faces on each end. And my everyday item was a toilet roll. So I'm trying to make my cylinder. How many circular shaped faces does it have? 2, and then the one curved face. So let's have some purple to do that. So let's pull this out of my tub. Oops, very sticky. Okay, here's my purple. Now if I'm making a cylinder, I've got to look at that curved face. How am I going to make it? I'm probably going to rub my hands together like this, but keep squeezing the ends as well so they don't just go off like a big snake or a big sausage. I'm keeping it so that it's keeping its shape. So that's my nice curved edge. So if you're making yours at home, you might want to use the same thing that I'm doing by rubbing my hands together like this, but prodding it together to get those circular, circle-shaped faces on the ends. I'm going to make it a bit longer and a bit rounder, and then I think that's pretty good going actually. Here is my cylinder. I've got my one curved face around the outside, and then circle-shaped face number 1 and circle-shaped face number 2. So there's my Play-Doh cylinder. So I'm going to pop that on my cylinder there. Right, next up, I think I'm going to have a go. I wonder what I should have a go at. I think I'm going to use the light green to have a go at doing a cuboid. Now, I don't know if you remember my saying yesterday, but with the cuboid, it's my one here, my mathematical one. Hang on, my Play-Doh's stuck. My mathematical one has 4 faces around the outside that are this shape. And they are, when the sides are longer here and shorter here, so they're not all the same length, they are rectangles, rectangular shaped faces. But on the end of this mathematical cuboid, I have square-shaped faces on the end, 2 of them, 1 on each end. But it can also be a cuboid, remember. I'm looking at my everyday item one here. It can also be a cuboid if it has rectangles on the end as well. Okay, so it can also be a cuboid if it's rectangles all over, so 6 rectangular faces in total, so they can both be cuboids. I'm going to have a go. Actually, I'm going to see how it goes. I'm going to start making the shape like a cuboid and see if I'm going with square-shaped faces or rectangular. It looks a bit like I'm going square here, to be honest with you. I'm finding that a bit easier to do, but remember they could be a cuboid if it's rectangular on the ends or square, but they would always be rectangle shaped on the main part, the 4 around the middle. Okay, so I'm going to bring over my cuboid. Okay, so I've got a square-shaped face on this end and another square-shaped face here, so 2 square-shaped faces, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangular shaped faces in the middle. So there is my cuboid. Let's pop that on top of my cuboid then. Okay, I'm going to make one more, basically because I want you to have a go at home making these shapes, and then we're going to have a go at painting them as well. Now, I don't know if you want to get paint on your Play-Doh, it's entirely up to you, but my intention is to paint my mathematical ones, but it's up to you. If you want to take the ones you've made here today and paint them, that's I'm more than happy. Well, I'm more than happy for you to do that. You'd have to check with your parents, of course, to see. Right, I'm going to use this jazzy red, and I'm going to make a sphere. Sphere. Now, which one was a sphere? Do you remember? What does a sphere look like? And what shaped faces does a sphere have? So, on my table, it's kind of hard to see my sphere because he has to be sitting at the back because I have a little hole in the table to put an umbrella in, and my sphere is sitting in the little hole because if I just put him on the table he'll just roll off. So that is my sphere, and it has one continuous curved all over face, no flat faces on my sphere. So it looks a lot like my orange, which is my everyday shape, but I look like a football or a ball. So I'm going to do this method like this and roll it around in my hands until I am happy that I seem to have like a ball shape, which will be my sphere. So let's bring that up to the camera. There's my sphere. One continuous curved face all over the sphere, no flat faces whatsoever, just like a ball. Fabulous. Let's sit him next to my orange, he doesn't roll off. And then I think I'm going to have a go at... Now, part of me wants to give a go to a square-based pyramid, but it's tricky. If you look at a square-based pyramid, it has triangular-shaped faces leaning up on the sides. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. But on the bottom, just like its name, has a square for its base. So let me see if I can do it. Oh, just looked in here, though. There's not a lot of yellow Play-Doh. So it's going to be a small square-based pyramid. I'm pinching at the top, pinching like this. So it goes to the point that it has on the top of the square-based pyramid. It's a bit like a cone, but it has those flat faces on the sides and not the one curved face like a cone would have. So I'm making sure that my square is at the bottom, giving it a pinch, giving it a tweak, and then as I point it to the top, they should start to make triangles, even without me really trying too very hard. So let's have a look. There is my square base on my square base pyramid, and then on the sides, if I just pinch them nice and flat, I have triangle 1, triangle 2, triangle 3, and triangle 4. So I've got my square-based pyramid. There we are. Let's pop that next to my square-based pyramid. So, these are my shapes, and we've had a good chat about the faces on them as we've made them. So it's a nice good chat about the properties of each shape. Now I'm going to have a go at doing some painting of them, okay? So if you want to pause the video and you want to go and get your paints together so you can paint with me, remember if you want to paint your Play-Doh ones, that's absolutely fine. If your parents say that's okay, but you will probably need to get your apron on and things before you start painting. So I'm going to go and get my apron now, and I will join you back here in a moment. Okay, so I'm back and ready with my apron on. I have managed to do some bits of paper here that are nice and black, so they should hopefully show up my yellow paint that I've got. And I've put the name of each 3D shape that I'm going to print. So here I have a square-based pyramid is my first one. And I've got my paint ready, my bright yellow paint. I'm going to select my square-based pyramid. What faces does a square-based pyramid have? Well, I know its base is a square shape, and up the sides, because it goes to a point, those faces must be triangle faces. So this is it, my square base and my triangle faces on the other sides. So I'm going to use my yellow paint, and I'm going to paint onto the base of my pyramid like this. Plot lots of paint so I don't run out of paint. And then I'm going to press that onto my piece of black paper. There we are, hopefully it will all come out. And now I can see that one of the faces on my square base pyramid is a square shape. That's come out nice. Now I'm going to have a go, whoops, I'm going to have a go, and I'm going to give it a little wipe, so helpfully I've got my cylinder shaped tissue here. I'm going to have a go at doing the other sides of my square base pyramid. So I'm going to paint this one here. There we are, lots of paint on so it comes out nice and clear. And I'm going to press it onto the paper over here. There we are. And that is, and that's come out nice and clear, a nice triangle shaped face, triangular shaped face there. Now, how many of those triangular shaped faces has it got? Now I can start with the one that's wet, so I know I don't count it twice. So 1, 2, 3, 4 of those faces. So by all means you could paint each one so you can see on your bit of paper that a square based pyramid has 4 triangular faces. It might be quicker if I just rub it in and then brush it over like this. So I've done 1, 2, 3 and 4. There we are. So if I bring this over, you can see from my square based pyramid, which is named in the middle, that it has one square shaped face and then one, you can see that all right, 2, 3, 4 triangular shaped faces. And I can pin that up now when it dries, and that will remind me about the faces on a square based pyramid. I'm going to put that one there. Let's try another one. I'm going to rest my square based pyramid on a piece of tissue for now, so it doesn't cover my table in paint. Right, I'm going to go next with, shall we go with a cube? So I'm going to take my mathematical cube. You could take your Play-Doh one that you've made, and I'm going to find my piece of paper that says cube on it. Now, cube has faces that are all the same shape. Do you remember? It has square-shaped faces, and they're all the same. None of them are different. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4 going around the outside, and then don't forget the ends, 5 and 6. So I'm going to paint those. Well, I have room on my bit of paper. I've given my cube a bit of a small piece of paper. 1. Let's do the other one. 2. Bit squidgy, that one. 3. Let's print it onto the paper before I get counting and get carried away. 3. Whoop. And then 4. Getting squidgy here. I can sense my dropping it like my capacity lesson the other day. 4. 5. On this side. Oh, getting very soggy. And 6. Now I should have paint on every single one of my faces now, so I know there's 6 faces because all of them have paint on, which means I've painted every single one. Let's rest my cube on there. Let's bring it over to the camera. So my cube has, whoop, no, hold it like that, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 square-shaped faces. So that's a good way of remembering what my cube looks like, what all the faces look like. Right, I'm going to do another one together, but then I think probably you could have a go at home now to carry on doing this when you've stopped the video, okay? So I think, what should we do next? We could do, what have I got here? Should we have a go with a triangular prism? Because we haven't spoke about this one yet. We haven't made it out of Play-Doh or anything. Now, I had my triangular prism the other day. I managed to find an everyday item, which was a chocolate bar, which was a triangular prism with triangular faces on the end and rectangular faces all around the middle. Okay, So let's take a look at painting my triangular prism. I've got my piece of paper here with triangular prism written in the middle of it. And I'm going to use my yellow paint, and I'm going to start with my triangle shaped faces on each end. I'm going to press those down hard. There is one, and there's another one on the other end. So I'm going to paint that and press it down really hard, and that is two. But that's my edges. I've got to tackle the ones going around the middle now. So I'm going to paint that one. That is a rectangular shape. One. I'm going to do the other one. Oops. Paint's getting a bit squidgy again. Whoop. Two. And I'll know when I've got them all because they'll be covered in paint. Two. And looking at my triangular prism, every side has got paint apart from this bottom one here. Every face, should I say. Every face has got paint on. And then I'm going to cover that in paint and press that down there. And then that one's not come out overly well. Let's give it another press. And then if I bring it up to the camera, you can see that a triangular prism, although my paint's getting not quite so noticeable now, it has two triangular shaped faces on either end, and then 1, 2, 3 rectangular shaped faces going around the middle. So there you go, that's my triangular prism. So we've done a nice bit of painting here today. By all means, have a go at some of the other shapes. You could have a go at painting the faces of a cone maybe. Now remember, you're going to have your nice circle shaped face, but when you try and paint your curved face, see what happens. So it's not making an actual shaped face, but when you roll it out on your paper, it might create some kind of shape, but really it's just a curved face there, okay, because it's going to that point as well. Same with a cylinder, okay? You'll get some lovely prints from each side. So look at what shape those sides are. But when you try and roll out the curved shape in the middle, you might notice that it looks like a rectangle on your piece of paper. But is it a rectangle shaped face? So ask yourself those questions, all right? So when you're painting those particular shapes, have a little think about those curved faces, okay? Right, well, we've had a lot of fun here today talking about our 3D shapes. Please do explore a little further without me, but I will see you again tomorrow when we have one final lesson on our 3D shapes. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.